Hello and welcome back. We are back again within the hour, and I'm so excited to introduce you to my incredible friend, collaborator, part of the ElixSeer team, and truly a creative force to be reckoned with, the incredible Allie Tymo. I don't even know how I met her. I think I came across her work through mutual friends, fell in love with the way she does branding and just the way she shows up and who she is as a human, a mom, a wife, like a creative. And her energy is incredible. She's a projector in human design, and so one of her gifts is to really be able to see beyond and to like see your blind spots and things like that. So I mentioned earlier in my solo live that like I work with her in house. For me, like for ElixSeer, for me, we all need someone that can see our brand, hold the power of our brand the same way that we do for all our clients and stuff. So I'm so excited to bring her on. Please join me in welcoming. I'm just going to wait for her to say, come on. She's the founder of Allie Tymo Creative. And again, as you will see, all of our collaborators have their own respective creative practices, if you will, or firms or whatever businesses, because it truly goes back to my ethos of there's more than enough truly for every single person here. And the future is collaborative. It always has been, and it's not even the future. It's just the roots have always been connection and togetherness. So Allie, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Oh my gosh, that was such a beautiful introduction and just like all of your words are so on point. So I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. All right, Allie is located in Vancouver, BC. So we have a global team, truly, quite honestly. And today we're going to talk about, and I think this was one of the things that captivated me about you and your brand. I remember when you came up with like the brand boost sessions.
Mm.
I mean, it was so catchy because like you don't see it, right? So today we're gonna share more, of course, about her journey in entrepreneurship and like as a creative. Also, like give you like I guess a high level overview of like her zones of genius and how she could support you, like whether it's through ElixSeer, like if you work with us, or if you like just want to like go and be a part of her beautiful spaces by yourself. And then, all things branding, like how do you boost your brand, revive your brand? Like how do you be more you and your brand? And the live that I did earlier talked about leadership, creative expression, marketing, and like using your voice. And so I think it set the stage for this quite
Mhm.
powerfully. So I'd love to explore. That's like the whole crux of our conversation right now.
Yeah.
So share with us, like, I mean, I introduced you, but like really, like, who are you? What is your entrepreneurial journey? Like, how did you get to doing what you're doing now?
Oh my gosh. Whew. There's so many questions. Okay. Yeah, I'll start with how I got to doing what I'm doing right now. And I think that even when I think about the the idea of creating a brand and the idea of boosting your brand, it is really this combination of who you are and your energetics, and then infusing that into a strategy, into intentionally curating and creating like a well-designed brand, how much it represents who you are. And so when I think about my journey really started with the energetics as the foundation, as my ability to really see people and hold space for people. My training initially was in life coaching, and and it was really through my experience coaching clients more on like their internal world. Uh, but often it was entrepreneurs. And then I would see this disconnect where there was all of this transformation that was being created internally, but there was a disconnect with what was happening in their business and in their brand. So that's really when I pivoted to more of like a brand management creative director role, because I could see all of these ways that we could bring their vision to life. And it was like we
Yeah.
did the groundwork and the foundation of figuring out and getting the clarity over what that is. And
Yeah.
it's like so many people will want to think about branding and think about having this really well established, beautiful brand, but they don't have the clarity that they need to really
Yeah.
actualize it, right? It's like whether their voice isn't clarified, whether they haven't refined their messaging, whether they haven't really deepened into and anchored into what exactly their mission and vision is, and think it's just like the shiny aesthetics or having it look a certain way. And that's really only one aspect of it. So, so yeah, in my journey, I started supporting leaders in really elevating their brands. And you know, I'm sure so many people have heard the sentiment that your brand isn't like how it looks, but it's like how a brand is how you make people feel. It's the impression. So while branding and a lot of the work that I do can be centered around like graphics and having, you know, templates for your social media feed and things like that, it's also looking at the full picture of like, what is your offer suite? What's the customer journey like when customers are coming into your brand? How are they feeling from like the first touch points, from the first beginning point of a funnel and down and trickling down to the end? And is that making sense? Are you able to optimize your offers in a way that is in alignment with who you are and the business model you want, all of this? So yeah, it's been a really beautiful journey for me to be able to have the opportunity to just be so immersed in other people's brands and what they're doing, and to really intimately know the heart of the women that I work with. Like that is the creme,
I love that.
the creme.
I love that so much. And so, you know, like speaking on like all things brand, like what are some pieces that you see? What are some holes that you see when it comes to branding? Because I think branding and being able to scale and grow your business are so they're intertwined. You don't need one or the, like, I feel like a brand is, you know, people will tell you your brand, but a brand is also how you make people feel and like who you are, not just online, but offline. I touched on that like in my segment. What are some holes or gaps that you see in brands? Like, how can they make their experience more exclusive, but also more client centric, where it's like people feel seen and heard when they enter the space? Like maybe like top 2 things or 3 things.
Yeah, well, and I think that sometimes it's like when it comes to identifying blind spots, sometimes when it's your own business and when it's your own brand, you're just so close to it, and it's hard to have that eagle eye view. And even to be able to identify and look at content and to see, okay, here's one piece of content, but because I'm not so close to it, I can see all of the ways that you can extract that piece of content and make it work for you. So like if you're building your business and your brand and you're just feeling suffocated by the task of needing to be a marketing manager in your business and needing to be the social media manager and needing to create all of this content, it's like you're just trying to keep up with the momentum of that. And sometimes you can't even see the ways that you can actually like not just refine your messaging, but really expand your messaging. And and even thinking about what your vision and what your mission is. Sometimes you kind of have this view of like what your mission and vision is, and you don't even see how the bigness of it, like how that can even in itself be amplified and communicated in a really simple way. Sometimes a lot of people in their brands, they're talking about their brand in this really like esoteric way, or they're getting really deep with it, or they're, you know, they're like in their own world. And then for other people watching it, even though it makes sense for you, you haven't simplified it enough where someone could just hop in and be like, oh, I get it. I have to be, you know, working with this person, or oh, like to be able to really communicate the results that you create in a simplified way. So I think it's like, sometimes I think people get caught up thinking that to expand your brand actually needs to be more complicated, or it has to take so much more work and so much more effort. But it actually takes like a simplification, and it actually takes like more precision and more refinement. And through that process, like you step into your own leadership in a new way, and you step into your own power in a new way. And yeah, I don't know if that exactly
no, it does. It actually touched on all those things, and I have chills because it's so funny because this is the exact work that we're doing right now with me, like in-house for ElixSeer. Because I remember like being on holiday like earlier this year, and I was like, wait, I have an incredible group of collaborators that can support client work. Like, of course, you always want that.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. But then I was like, who's helping you lift your brand verticals? Like, who's like, I'm the blind spot for like so many of my clients. I'm the visionary, the strategist, the creative director, like for all of their marketing, like all of their brands. And I was like, okay, but who's holding your vision? Like, I mean, the team's there, the team matches, you know, power and power with your vision, but really, like, how are we executing the greater part of this? And I'll never forget our conversation that we hopped on, I think before I left, um, on holiday, and I shared with you, and I was like, this is very big. Like, this is bigger than me, and I can't, like, I can hold it, but I don't want to do it on my own. And like, here's where I stand on all things like ethos and faith and values. And it's a diverse blend of a team, but we all pray. We all get into like prayer like together here, which is amazing. And I remember you sharing like, I could do all, like I could do this, and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm like, and sometimes you just, as a business owner and a founder, you just need that brain space cleared out. You just need someone else that can reflect at you and reflect back to you, hey, here's where you're missing the mark. Or like, I see a lot of this and this is great, but you have all of these testimonials and all of these things to like literal evidence that you've cultivated over the years.
Yeah.
Why are you not shining a light on that? And I, like, and that has been so huge for me, like between you and between Al, like both the Allisons, as I call it, between Allie Canales and between you, I'm like, yeah, like we're good. Like we're good because you guys both bring such a different flavor to it. Like you come in from the more like tangible, like really grounded strategic lens, and she comes in more with the soma and the embodiment and leadership piece. And she's more like, I call her like my little Gen Z like content fairy, because like I don't think I'm a dinosaur, but I almost feel very old sometimes. So it kind of helps to have someone else with fresh sets of eyes, because I'm too close to my brands, I'm too close to the mission.
Yeah.
You want someone that's invested in it. So this touches on it beautifully. What are some ways that, you know, if you're a business owner and you know they're like, we want to amplify our message, like how can they sift, you know, and I want to touch on this because I see this a lot. Like, you know, we work with a lot of healers, spiritual like businesses, and like even like faith-based businesses and whatever healing businesses, doesn't matter what kind of healing you're doing. And it's like all the, I am a star seed from blah blah, and like I help you like align this. And I'm like, but can you put that in like normal speak? And my copy brain's like, how can we ground that for someone who's on this journey? Like, what is, do you have a framework, or like what is something that you would recommend?
Yeah. And I mean, first I want to touch on the reality that so many entrepreneurs do have this like massive potential that they can feel, and do have this vision that feels so big. And sometimes it's like when you are somebody who has this big vision, that can also feel incredibly overwhelming, because you can also be inspired and you're like, I can see all the ways that I can share this way, and there's so much that I do for my clients, and like how can I communicate all the things? So I'm gonna word vomit all this in one post, or I'm gonna, you know, like you feel the bigness of it, and then that can really stifle you. So again, like I'm just going to keep coming back to this theme of simplicity, because even in the question you're asking right now, I've worked with a lot of healers and a lot of people who are, their work is rooted in like spirituality and this transformation and the intangible. And really, I don't even, I mean, I kind of like don't even really like the idea of calling it a framework, because I really feel like every person that I work with, it's so individualized. And it's like when I plug somebody in, or if I were to plug somebody into a framework, it's like every business has different needs, and every entrepreneur has different needs, and how you're communicating, like it's structured differently. So if you're somebody who has intangible things that they're delivering to their clients, and you're talking about it in a way that's like, I'm, you know, this, and I'm going to align you, and like the word salad that can so often be thrown into content, to even first just have the awareness that even though the word salad sounds like nice and poetic and it sounds dreamy and it feels like you can lay in a field and be like, surrounded by the divine, and that's
Yeah.
going to ascend you into the 5D, it's like, and that's so confusing for
Yeah.
people. It's incredibly confusing for people, and confused people do not
Yep.
buy. They just stay in that cycle of indecision. So again, it's like taking the messaging and simplifying it. It's thinking about your ideal clients and where they are in their actual
Journey.
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, their journey and just like their everyday. It's like, cool, like the idea of ascending sounds really cool, but my day to day, I'm stressed as fuck and I'm anxious, and I've been going through a dark night of the soul and I'm just trying to figure out how to function.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like there are real tangible things that people want to change in their life.
Yeah.
And so if you're not communicating the intangible in a way that just like clicks for people, then they're going to shelve that. It's no longer going to be a priority. So it's really looking at what it is that you do, and it can be this profound spiritual experience, and it can be this profound inner transformation, but then taking that and communicating in a way of like, this is actually what it's going to do for you, like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Really, really breaking it down into a way and into a framework where you're simplifying it and you're talking to humans. I think so much of the time when we're just creating content for social media, we lose track of the idea that, like, that's not how you would talk to someone who's sitting across from you.
No, no. I mean, like, so here's the thing, right? Like, and I think I'll like, for purposes of everyone like understanding this even deeper, it's like, think of it like if you were going to a career development coach, okay? Like, it doesn't matter whether you're corporate or if you were going to like a life coach or like whatever. It's like, well, obviously you're going to them because you feel like an emptiness in your life. Maybe you feel lonely. Maybe you feel like your relationships are kind of empty or failing, and you want to feel more connected to whatever. I'm just giving examples here.
Yeah.
And so you're going to seek someone out, and the transformation that they're going to help you walk through is like you learn more self-love. Self-love could look like taking yourself out on dates, or learning to accept who you are, or like having hard conversations with people in your life, resetting the balance, resetting the boundaries, which then shifts the dynamics in all your relationships, bringing you closer. Like, see how tangible that was? Versus if I tell someone, I'm a life coach and I help you transform your life and like help you feel liberated and step into the most next level version of you. Okay, great. But how? But
Mm-hmm.
how? And I feel like 99% of the times in the online space, and I'm specifically speaking to the online space, like you want to give people the how in your tagline or whatever it is in your I help or I guide or whatever, however you phrase that. Because if you had to go into a physical networking connection, events, whatever, you're always meeting people, you're always connecting with people, businesses, relationships, businesses, connection, and you're describing it to someone and you can't tangibly put it into words within a minute,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to lose them. You're going to see the person's eyes just kind of glaze over. They might be being polite, but their brain switch is like switched off. And the thing is, when you're not specific in your language, they may come to your page because it's inspirational and aspirational, but it's not going to convert them. If anything, now that they're aware that, this language is like resonating with me, I kind of feel seen on this
Yeah.
page, then they're going to go down the hole that is Instagram or wherever, Google, a la Google, and they're going to type transformational coach or blah blah healer or whatever, like whatever practice. And guess what, they're going to buy from the person that is literally describing their symptoms. We've been taught it as pain points. You don't have to keep poking at the pain point, but you do need to describe the symptom in a way that's not like debilitating, but you're making problem aware. Like, you're making them aware, like, hey, I know you experienced this. And then you're showing them the possibility. They're going to buy from that person or that business or that store, right?
Yeah, because you want to hire somebody who gets it.
Exactly.
Sorry, I had a phone call come through.
No, it's all good. Exactly. No, I love that so much. You know, I want to ask you more about like what are some, I guess, I mean, I don't know if this all ties into it. Maybe it does, but like, what are like three traits of like an impactful brand that
Mm,
you see? I don't know if you've ever gotten asked that, but like from your experience working with so many brands, like what are the brands or like who are the brands that are going to stand the test of time truly and be like the ones with staying power? Like what are the traits that you need to have that staying power no matter what the climate is around you?
yeah, I mean, I think the most beautiful thing is really recognizing what your own unique flavor and sauce is. And I think like this is such a powerful way where you can really weave in human design into your brand. It's like the more that you understand yourself and the more that you see you, the more other people will see you. So I could, list off different traits like the word bold is coming into my mind where I ran a mastermind last year, and there was one person who felt like she needed to be bold in order to
Yeah.
have a standout brand. But bold wasn't a part of her like makeup.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
not every leader needs to be bold and needs to be out there in order to be remembered. For her, it was actually like her space holding and her gentleness and like the ability that she had for someone to come into her brand to be like, this
Yeah.
is a breath of air. This is
Yeah.
a relief. It was very, very different. And I think so. It is somebody who leads themselves and sees themselves. The kind of across the board trait is to really have that level of certainty
Yeah.
that like to believe like the belief and the certainty are two massive things. Like if you don't have the belief and you don't have the certainty, that does not mean that you can't develop it either.
Yeah.
Like if someone's watching this and they're like, oh, like I've been in a space of self-doubt, I don't have clarity, I don't have this, so that means I'm not going to be a brand that stands the test of time. Like no, that is not true. There are these traits and these skills that we can develop.
Yeah.
And when you focus on developing them and really hold space so that you can meet yourself and see yourself, that's the thing that's going to really make you stand out. The other thing that I will say that really ties back to this conversation around like content and getting specific is to be a really great storyteller. So the reason why there's all this word salad that just sounds good, or it sounds like someone just plugged it into Chat GPT and it's like spat out this poetic post that like
Yeah.
whatever, it's like you haven't developed the ability to be a really powerful storyteller. And some people have the natural ability to write well and create content well, but that doesn't have to be a natural talent. It is an art, but it's also a skill that you
Yeah.
can develop. And the more that you develop that skill means that now you're in a position where, okay, you've like you worked on your own belief, on your certainty, you have really worked to see yourself so that other people can see you, and pairing it with the storytelling, the the best storytellers understand their
Yeah.
people. So now not only do you see yourself, but you see other people. And when you see other people, you can connect directly to their heart. And this is what people are craving, is that people don't want to work with people who only care about themselves and their own results, who are just shouting out about how great they are. They want to be seen and they want to be recognized. We've entered this space in the online space where emulating our favorite mentor or our favorite person who we look up to is just like is not the vibe. We're each individually coming back to our own power and feeling it, like, and that's being amplified. And I feel like especially over the past few months there are a lot of people who have gone through really challenging moments,
Yeah.
a lack of clarity, and like life has just been lifing for so many people. And it is in that space where we actually really connect to like the core of our own inner power,
Yeah.
strip away anything that's kept us disconnected from that. So yeah, I would say like to be able to see yourself, to be able to see other people, and to really anchor into your own power so that you can be a powerful mirror to amplify that back to other people. It's not like I'm powerful, so work with me. It's I'm powerful and so are you. Let's go together.
Yep.
And like and it's better this way. It's more potent and powerful this way. So, yeah.
Ooh, I love that. Full chills. Okay, two last questions for you. You know, what does like when you hear the words ElixSeer, like what does it symbolize to you? I've been asking all our team of collaborators this because I have a really cool idea that's been like percolating in my brains, and I've been getting like all sorts of answers across the board, which is so cool to witness people's perspective. So what does it mean to you, or like symbolize to you, if you will?
Oh my gosh. I have legit never thought about it. I mean, it definitely has like that richness and that like, you know, there's like a richness, there's like, and even just like knowing your brand, there's the quality that ElixSeer leads with and the depth that it leads with. It just makes me think of something like it's like a luxurious kind of like a potion, you know? Like it's like
It's
I
one
don't
of
know.
those like bougie oils that you're gonna get
Right, but
put it on your
it's like
skin.
kind of like
Yeah.
hidden in a way, like it's like the holy grail almost. Like it's yeah, it's like a sacred um it's like a I don't know. And I think I don't know, like I'm thinking of like this like sacred oil that like someone would kind of like take that would like unlock their voice,
Their own inner, yeah,
unlock
their own inner
their
voice. Yeah.
yeah,
I
their
love that.
voice, their expression, their what their purpose, like what they're here to really do.
You're giving
And I
me
know
ideas. You're giving me product ideas. Like at some point. But no, I love that. I love that so much because that's truly what all of us like banded together for.
yeah,
Like I remember like praying, like literally in 2022, like as everything was, you know, in a way disintegrating for me, like it was God's way of humbling me and
yeah,
bringing me back home to Him. And I remember praying, I was like, God, just show me my people, like just lead me to my people. And like it has taken an entire year and a half to cultivate this team. I was like, I'm not rushing this. Like I'm here and I'm not rushing this. Like,
yeah,
and like you came my way, like Joelle, Colleen, like every person that's a part of this collaborative, decentralized collaborative space. Um, like it's just so beautiful to witness and see. And like we all help. Like it's what I love about all of us, you and all of us, is we all do such similar things, but we
mm,
come at it from such an open heart,
yeah,
and to
yeah,
serve and to make a difference. It doesn't matter if it's you on your own privately or if, you know, it's like through this vehicle, as I like to call it. But it's really nice to see that weaving. And I feel like we're shifting. I mean, that's always been my jam. And I feel like we're just shifting that way collectively. And people are waking up and realizing that there is no hierarchy, there is no pedestal. Like everyone's made worthy in the image of God. And like we're all here designed in His way, created in His way uniquely to be who we are. And there's no need to mimic, there's no need to pedestalize, idolize anything or anyone outside of that, like
yeah.
at all. And not even idolize ourselves, like just have reverence for who you've been created to be and
Hmm.
lead with that, right? Lead with service, lead with truth, and then let that speak. So I
Yeah.
love that.
And really like coming home to who we are
Yeah.
in a way that's like I think, you know, as entrepreneurs, it's really easy to get caught up in like the pressure.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that's why we enter this space of scarcity when we're looking at someone else and seeing what someone else's success and then trying to duplicate that because we feel this pressure to like make it happen within this specific kind of timeline. And then if we don't, then that means that, you know, we're not cut out for it or it's not going to work or it's a failure or it's whatever it is. But the reality is that like each and every one of us has such a unique purpose and such unique gifts that we were born with.
Yeah.
And that's a long-term game. Like that's
Yeah.
mastery. And I'm not here for like short, quick,
Yeah.
get in, get out, or like just to be able to like make a lot of money and then share about that on the internet. Like I'm really here because I love supporting other women who are driven by this like magnetic purpose that lives inside of them. And even if they don't have it crystal clear right now, that doesn't matter. You can feel that like seedling inside of you, you know? So wherever anyone's at in their journey, to even like just disconnect from timelines and to actually realize like you have a shit ton of time.
Yeah.
And it's about using that time intentionally. It's not about having a quick turnaround and then all of a sudden your brand blows up.
Yeah.
It's really about getting really, really intentional and focusing on your own mastery within that and connecting back to your own power within that. And the more that we kind of outsource our power and the more that we, you know, feel that pressure and then operate from scarcity or try and launch something because we want a quick cash injection, or, you know, we're chasing vanity metrics or whatever it is, it's like it's just taking us further away from what we're really here to do. So getting in spaces that are heart led, that do connect you to your own power, that where you can sit across from someone and be like, wow, like all I see is your power. All I see is your potential. All I see is like this beautiful vision that you have on your heart. That is an incredibly empowering space to be in when you realize that, like, you get in a space and then you realize, wow, I've been the gift all along.
Yep. Yeah. And we are gifts. Like, you know, we're here to create impact. We're here to steward like so much. We're here to live abundant, prosperous lives. Like whatever that looks like, it can look different for everyone. And I love everything that you shared just now. There is something powerful about not just you seeing your own light, but also like seeing others and then having them reflected back to you and then walking together hand in hand, because it is never, can you go far on your own? Can you climb far on your own? Yes. I mean, hello. I solopreneured my way for a good, I would say 5 years, truthfully. And then I started to hire like, you know, VAs or like other contractors. And all along, I didn't realize that I was on the hunt for like the people that are here to journey with me for a lifetime. Because this is beyond like, oh, just set up a business because you want to break from corporate or, you know, whatever. It was a movement. It is a movement. And those are the types of clients that we tend to attract. We don't attract the clients that are, oh, we just want a quick win. We're here for like the people that really are, oh, like they're okay with, you know, stepping into the unknown. They're willing to walk on water, stand in the fires, be refined, and then let that come out of them through their whatever, through their missions, you know. And I lost my train of thought. My point is that at the end of all of this stuff, you can go alone the hard way. I did that, tried it, burned out, failed like more times than I could remember. And that's a part of the journey. It's part of the rite of passage, if you will. Yeah. But it became so much easier when I just started to let go and let God. And like, I feel like, you know, you have to believe in something higher than yourself. You have to let yourself be supported. You have to find and surround yourself with people that see you and see your vision, even when you don't see it. Like if I didn't have those people in my life who are now thankfully a part of this team, like I don't know that I would be here. And I do believe every single one of you has been God sent. And so get yourself in powerful spaces. If you're like, I don't have a community, or like I'm lacking community based on like all of this stuff, and I know where the gap is, you know, if your gap is in like creativity, content, blah, blah, whatever, brand, get into a space, like a community space online or in person, where you are connecting with other creatives and like you do kind of fuel that, right? Which leads me to one of my last questions for you. What are some ways, I mean, I know people can work with you through me and through us, but like what are some ways or spaces that you have open right now for people to work with you and connect with you and receive whatever it is that they're meant to receive from you?
Yeah. So a couple of spaces. One is like if you're just wanting, you know, if you're just wanting to have a conversation about your own alignment, and even like I have human design readings that I kind of open up here and there where it's just like a one-off session where we can really talk about like not just your human design, but really where you're at and get clarity and get a game plan in place for where you want to go. But even in the realm of like content creation and strategy, there's containers for that. Or if you're really wanting like a rebrand or like a website build, you know? I think I really love the looking at the whole vision of your business and your brand. So my favorite thing to do is honestly just like design custom packages for where someone's at,
Yeah.
to have a conversation to be like, okay, where are you at? And like, let's figure out something that's going to be the most supportive for
Yeah.
you, and not, you know, not feeling like, oh, is this right for me? Is this not right for me? It's like, let's
Yeah.
create a really like custom experience for where you at. And sometimes like I do have clients who have come to me and they have a big vision, but what they have the capacity for is starting slow. So you
Yeah.
start slow, you
Yeah.
know? It's not about like, oh, get into like the biggest, most high ticket container. It's really like, let me meet you where you're at because I see you, and because I see you,
Yeah.
and like move from that space, the space that's going to feel like honestly the most supportive to you and your system and for the life that you're wanting to live and create.
I
So
love
yeah.
that so much. I mean, that's what you did with me, right? Because I was like, I don't have an execution problem or a creation problem.
Yeah.
I can create at the drop of a hat, like, or I have someone, like, people that will help me with that. But I'm like, I have a, it's not an identity thing. Like for me, and I've alluded to this on, in my own solo segment, but also like speaking with the other team members, like in our conversations, it's like we went through this, I don't want to say rebirth, it's more like we went through a revival where November, the retreat that I held, the documentary that we filmed, it truly was that fusion of the inner evolution with the like reflecting that on the outside.
Yeah.
And like I had evolved, we've all evolved. I've evolved so much since then, even,
Yeah.
but it's like, how can you be who you are in and out? And I feel like that's the biggest gift. Like entrepreneurship is also identity work, leadership is also identity work. And I feel like, and I want to reflect that back to you because you're so incredible. I like just seeing, like, I needed that help. I needed that help just to like, I know I'm a leader. I know that I'm good at what I'm good at. But I think for me, to even like share this, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, sometimes you need help seeing yourself. Sometimes you need someone that can like reflect it back to you. Sometimes you need someone that can see not just your blind spots, but like, hey, this is what you're really good at. Why aren't you talking about this more? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why do you not have a service on this? Or like, what are some ways we can bring this out? And so, and I love that you met me where I was at for right now. And then it gets to evolve into, as we continue to grow together. And I think that's so beautiful. So I just wanted to reflect that back because
Thank
that's one of
you.
your superpowers too.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate that. And like I always say, it's just so much deeper than business.
yeah,
We have a beautiful opportunity to really like not just spread our mission, or not just, like all these things, but it's like we get to literally transform ourselves. Like our businesses are such a vehicle for our own transformation,
oh
where we
yeah,
get to meet ourselves
yep,
and meet our own power and potential. And then to not do it in isolation,
yeah,
to actually, like, I think there's so much power when sisters can come together, where women
yeah.
can come together and like really, and that in itself is so
It's
healing,
huge. It's
to be able
healing
to
because
be
there's so many sisterhood wounds and whatever, like all like caused by systemically, but also socioculturally, like demographically, wherever you're located, like there's so many nuances to it. And so I really genuinely do believe that, and it's not even in the cliched way, because I've been on the other end where people preach women supporting women and like whatever. I mean, I'm not going to get into that,
yeah,
but we've experienced that, and then it's not that. The after effects are
yeah,
not that. The experience isn't that, and so all of that just taught me. I was like, well, like I'm going to be renegade. I just put blinders on
yeah,
and do this my way and call in my people and make it a safe space. And there's power when women truly support women. Like I remember my husband telling me this years ago. He was like, well, how do y'all expect men to support you when y'all are like cutting each other down?
mm,
Whether it's passive aggressively, whether it's aggressively, whatever, like, frenemies and all these, like how
yeah,
about you support each other first,
yeah,
see each other's gifts first, band together as the village, because quite frankly, that's how it used to be.
yeah.
Like women would come together by the water, do their laundry together, converse, be by the well, like, it
I
was
mean,
a
the entire
community.
idea of like the red tent, for
Exactly.
sure. Yeah,
It was a community, and then it got dispersed, disintegrated, and we
yeah,
started to live in a whole different hyper vigilant, hyper masculine, totally unaligned paradigm,
Yeah.
and that's a whole separate
Yeah. All
conversation. I'm
these
not
like
going to,
patriarchal constructs. Yeah.
and even patriarchy, men are not the problem. It is this construct of patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Are there
Yeah.
people living in their toxic feminine, toxic wounded feminine masculine? 10,000%. I can spot that. Like, I was in my wounding for so long until I was like, I heard a voice being like, get up, like, stand up, step out of this. Like, you're not supposed to, just because it happened and just because you've gone through it doesn't mean you carry that bag of stories your whole life.
Yeah.
So I think it's something beautiful when women come together, especially in business. Okay, like, you guys, we've only had the rights to truly have our credit cards, bank accounts, vote, whatever you want to call it, and I could be wrong, but we've only had this since the 50s or 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, obviously during the wars is when women went to work, so it's like, it is still so recent. So why are we not celebrating who we are? And I'm not saying you don't need masculinity, but can you truly come home to like the fact that you've been given gifts, and then celebrate another sister, and then collaborate, because when one of us wins, we all win, across borders.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's just something so beautiful about women coming together in like right relationship and in true genuine sisterhood, um and that's what we get to do. Like, there's no agenda, you know what I mean? It's not each other up in the most like beautiful and unconditional in
I love that. Oh
unconditional
my
way.
gosh. Yeah. I love that so much. Well, my dear, this is the end of our time together. So if you've been watching us live, like, thank you for tuning in. I hope you took notes, learned, whatever you're meant to truly walk away with from this beautiful interview. Once again, Allie, thank you so much for saying yes to me, to my mission, and to being a part of it, truly, and for seeing it and witnessing it. And then thank you for being who you are and like how you show up, because I think that's so powerful with the way that you show up and share. And for those of you who loved Allie, like, go give her a follow. Sign up at the link in our bio to receive a replay of this, because we're going to package all of this up in one beautiful email, and you're going to receive it as a private like thing with all the episodes in there. Until then, this is here and it's going to live on the feed. And sign up for the email because you want to watch the documentary. It's being aired via email, it's premiering via email, and then later on at some point we might share it on social media, slowly but surely. But the premiere is not taking place on socials, it's actually taking place on your email, right at your inbox. So yeah, thank you for being here, thank you for tuning in wherever you are. I love you. We're gonna go.
Thank you so much. This is beautiful.
Yeah.